YouTube, my voice is getting a little raspy from my long COVID, really. So, universality is unquestionable. This is something I'm going to be leading with, and we should think about calling intellectual growth technology because a good amount of what we talk about is based on objective reality. Often you'll hear electronics engineers. I've been building electronics for like 30 years. They'll say, I like to deal with reality. I like to deal with things that I can touch, Philosophers, we deal with reality. We deal with objective reality. We look at just the way scientists do. We look at what scientists discover, and we base philosophy off that. Philosophy changes by what's found. So we can come up with technologies the same way that engineers that create physical gadgets come up with technologies. And so I want to propose a new technology, and it's I think fair. I think it's fair because it's already being used, but it's not being used properly because it's not been expressed in the correct way. And it's the notion of an unquestionable principle. Pure universality is just a description of what is. So what we're trying to capture here is something that is irrefutable. And the only way to do that is to cleanse it of all particularity, okay? It can't be regional, it can't be historical in any kind of particularity. It can't be nationalistic, it can't be religious, it can't be any identity particular. It's simply a word that's used to capture an essence that is without any a posteriori addition. It's all deterministic. But there's one thing that religions have captured that philosophy, I feel, hasn't captured well, and it's the notion of an unquestionable principle. I think, in a sense, it's held philosophy back because the first questions obviously are going to be, well, what would be an unquestionable principle? And then you'd put it out there, and the philosophers would question it to death, and they would allow or disallow it, right? And I think that part of philosophy is the thing that needs to be questioned. The insistence that everything can be questioned to death, no matter what it is. I saw it said today by a philosopher in one of the philosophy forums that they're studied to reply to other replies and be accepted by journals, and this is exactly the way I see it too. They're very professional at understanding what has come before, and it's so important because when we're rehashing things from the past as if it's new, it's disrespectful to the people of the past. It fails to understand that this is not quote unquote new technology. This has been said. But if we do that forever, we kill the passion, We kill the passion, and we disintegrate the link between upper level philosophy and lower level, not lower level, but just like the common language level of the general population, the most amount of people, right? We sever the link there. We sever the passion. It becomes legalistic, uninteresting, and at the ground level, everything's about passion. And at the ground level is the change that we need to make right now. We need to get a handle on things at the ground level. And academic philosophy is absolutely the focus, but it's way off for most people. And so it's my goal, and I'm proposing a new technology to academic philosophy, and for the majority of the people, an unquestionable principle of universality that highlights being, highlights existence. It highlights the idea that existence precedes essence. Being precedes identity. Identity is not more important than being. Your identity is not more important than another person's being. Your identity is not more important than their existence. Your essence is not more important than your existence. Your existence has to happen deterministically before you can even formulate an essence or an identity a posteriori, right? We all need food, air, water, shelter, healthcare, education. We all live in a limited system. I'm one, you're one. You can kill me, I can kill you. We share the same needs. Without these needs, we die. Ethics emerges, and if I take more than you have, you'll die or suffer, and if you take more than I have, I'll die or suffer. And then empathy is just a natural realization. It's not a fabrication or and also a natural emergence is, asymmetry and taking advantage, rapaciousness. Both of those outcomes, freedom in our environment is dual use, dual purpose. Universality, I'm proposing, is unquestionable, okay? Universality is unquestionable. We need to use the technology that identity particular groups use right now. They're already using this, but they're doing it for particularity, the wrong purposes. They're doing it to exclude us based on their own subgroup agendas. We need to affirm universality. We need to affirm the preservation of life in general as the top two levels of unquestionable principles. Those are not subject to change without exclusion of the person that tries to subvert them, okay? That's a just exclusion. If you're going against life in general, and because of regional particularity, nationalism, religion, which would be effectively historical particularity, you are subverting directly or indirectly universality and the preservation of life in general, and have committed a crime against life and humanity itself. Universality is unquestionable. The preservation of life in general is unquestionable. How you do that, of course, is going to split into, I'm not going to say infinite, but incalculable amounts of probabilities. And we all have to talk about that. And sometimes things in the short term might seem unethical. I think this is what Machiavelli basically was getting at. Some things in the short term might seem unethical. As long as we have the right goals in the end, we can deviate ethically a little bit as long as we come back. But what we see is a lot of people trying to appeal to the short term as if it's, they're going to get back to the longer term goals of right, and in the end they never really have the goal to go back to doing the right thing, which is universality and the preservation of life in general. Our first goals should be safety nets for the entire fucking world, not just one nation or whatever. For the entire world, we should have a foundational safety net. The world's going in the wrong direction right now, and I think it was determined to happen. Things are going to break loose, and then we got to air out our intellectual reality, honestly. So anyway, universality is unquestionable. Preservation of life in general is unquestionable as a guiding principle. Use natural language. Talk about it in a way that's not so detached from the general populace. I understand some concepts have to be spoken about in their technical language because but you can use a slight description of those words and still get the point across in a meaningful manner. If you guys like this kind of philosophical subject matter, help us out by liking the video.